I'm Erik.
And I'm Kristin. Welcome to Anne Arundel County Week in Review. Today we'll debate the upcoming Battle of the Beltways between the Ravens and the Redskins, and we'll also examine whether kids should be able to tweet and Facebook at school. But first, making headlines. Okay, folks, this is your last chance. We're going to remind you one more time about something that could put a bunch of cash in your pockets. No joke. The deadline is approaching to apply for the Maryland Homestead Tax Credit. Most of you have already done so, but some have not, and this could mean hundreds or even thousands of dollars in savings on your next tax bill. The idea behind that credit is the established homeowners cannot see an increase in their tax bills higher than 2% each year. You only had to apply once, so if you lived in your house for a long time, it wasn't necessary to reapply. But a while back, the state asked everyone to reapply in order to better track who was getting the credit, and now the deadline is approaching. If you are not enrolled by the end of this year, you could see a much higher bill this spring. It's pretty easy to find out if you're enrolled in this program. Go to our homepage, www.aacounty.org, and click on the banner that says Homestead Tax Credit, and just type in your address. The database will tell you if you are enrolled at the bottom of the page. Call it an early Christmas present from us here at Week in Review.
Kristin's getting me Christmas presents.
I know.
Wow, that's great.
That and peanut butter cups.
Well,
I know.
Well, if you're watching the show online, you probably aren't doing it in your class. Public schools have a policy that bans the use of social media and cell phones during school hours. Sounds reasonable, right? Well, students are saying no. The Chesapeake Regional Association of Student Councils has voted to allow access for students to check their Facebook, Twitter, Google, Images, and Wikipedia, as well as other online sites. They argue that these resources allow for real-time following of historic events such as the Arab Spring and other breaking news stories. According to the Maryland Gazette, they want to be able to use cell phones and mobile devices during recreational periods to stay in touch. Now, Kristin, before you say that this is just a way to look back at your boyfriend's pictures from the weekend or gossip with your girlfriends in class,
That's what I
think
do.
about it. Kids will be able to access all the learning and current events of Week in Review at any time. We can be incorporated into the curriculum. We could really mold these young minds, Kristin, what are you doing? Kristin.
Wait, I'm sorry. I just got a text. I'm sorry.
The school system says it's in the process of developing a new social media policy for students. As for the cell phones, it doesn't sound like they're too interested in that one. Why all these texts? Thank you for putting your phone in. We're trying to have a news show here, Kristin.
I'm just trying to see what it would be like to be bored in class by my teacher and have to get a text in class.
I understand. Go back to texting with your boyfriend.
Yeah, well, whatever. We want to thank Maryland Live for presenting a $50,000 check to County Executive John Leopold for improvements at Joe Cannon Baseball Stadium in Harmons Park. Here is the picture from left to right as Gary Spritz, Vice President of Property Operations for Maryland Live, Robert Norton, President and General Manager of Maryland Live, County Executive Leopold, State Senator Ed DeGrange, Dwayne Cordry, President of the Chesapeake Men's Senior Baseball League, Rick Anthony, Director of Recreation and Parks, Rusty Bristow, Harmon Civic Association.
Well, folks, there's more Week in Review to come, including our segment on the big, yes, I mean big. It's Super Bowl for Redskins fans, folks. The big Ravens-Redskins game this weekend. You're not going to want to miss this one. But after the break, we'll meet a local boy who is leading a fight against juvenile diabetes right here in our county. But first, check out our community calendar for upcoming events around your county. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
My dad's one of the producers, so he's there today. Bring this one.
And welcome back, folks. Well, there's nothing more important around the holiday seasons than seeing the smile on kids' faces, Kristin, and having kids come down and just be healthy, and happy, and full of life. Sometimes, though, problems occur. Sure. Happens. And we've got Tiffany Meacham and her son Dylan here, who Tiffany recently found out in October that Dylan's been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And I know that's been a life-changing event for you and your family. And Dylan, you sure have gone through quite a bit here in the last couple of weeks here at the front. Tiffany, tell us a little bit about Dylan's story. I know it's one that I think all parents out here really need to hear and really need to pay attention to.
Sure. Dylan was diagnosed October 14th of this year with type 1 diabetes. I had noticed about 6 weeks prior to October 14th that he had began to drink a lot of water. He had frequent urination, started about every half an hour, then got to be about every 20 minutes, then got to be about every 6 minutes. I raised a little bit of alert. We restricted his water a bit, didn't give him as much juice. I noticed in 1 week we spent almost $100 in juice in a week. At that time, I actually told my husband, "Do you think we spent $100?" And he checked receipts, it was $84.
Wow.
So that was my first little signal something wasn't right.
And October 14th it happened, how long?
This was about 6, well, it was a gradual process that took about 6 weeks. So the first week I noticed he was drinking more, and then about 3 weeks prior I noticed. I didn't red alert it. He had just started kindergarten. I figured, well, they're probably doing a lot more in kindergarten. They're probably exercising a lot. He's probably not getting beverages. I would send in a water bottle, but it would always come home full. So I thought, well, he's not drinking. So he's coming home, he's pounding juice. So then I just kept a lookout. I noticed he didn't like to eat anymore. For dinner, he'd have 2 cherry tomatoes. For breakfast, I didn't know he had diabetes, so he'd have a donut.
Sure.
He'd take his donut, have 1 bite, be done. He dropped down to 26 pounds when he was admitted. He, not only did he not eat as much, I also noticed at bath time, he just looked very skeletal-ish. That was my number 1 cause to call on October 14th. My number 1 call was when I hugged him, he felt like, a very, very skeletal-ish.
And you take him to the doctors or?
So I call an on-call doctor. He tells me to restrict the beverages. I didn't listen to him. I take him to patient first. He did a sugar glucose meter. He hit 400. They rushed him down to Anne Arundel Medical Center, where he was fully diagnosed type 1 diabetes. His sugar glucose levels were 793. And at that time, they thought he was in shock due to too much ketones in his urine, and took him up to Johns Hopkins.
So when you say he hit 400, when you say he hit 793, what's the average and how much more was 400?
The average is 70 to 130.
Wow.
I'm sorry, 80 to 130 in a child. 80 to 130, and then what that means is, well, when he was 793, he was nearly 10 times over, or 8 times over what he needed to be.
So it was really good instincts on your part
Yeah.
to ignore the initial prognosis and go ahead and take him.
Yes,
to
it was.
patient first.
It was important that I did so. That Friday, he had ran an race for education at school, and we had taken him to a party. He drank soda and began to vomit. I had no idea he was diabetic. I assumed he ran too much, drank too much soda, and that's what it was. But he was in, I always kill the word, but it's a ketone shock, ketonesmosis, and he was basically in shock from that. And luckily, that was Friday, and he was able to survive till Sunday until I took him to patient first.
Yeah. Now you said he's got type 1 diabetes. What is the difference, again, because I always forget, type 1 and type 2?
Type 1, the pancreas no longer works.
So Dylan does not have a working pancreas.
Yep, and the pancreas secretes insulin, and insulin delivers the sugars to the organisms needed throughout the body. Without insulin, the sugars build up in the bloodstream, and that's what causes the sugar levels to be higher. You need insulin to deliver the sugars where needed because your body needs sugar. It's your number 1 energy source.
Now, Tiffany, I know this has been something that for any family to go through, it's life-changing. I know it's certainly changed your life, it's changed Dylan's life, but he still seems very happy, he still seems alert and ready to be here.
Believe it or not.
Playing some video games, talking a little Ravens, Redskins football beforehand.
Like the Ravens, right, Dylan?
Ravens, right?
You want that Ravens jersey? You want that Ravens jersey?
Come on, Dylan.
So, Tiffany, tell us a little bit about how it's affected you guys at home.
Well, it affects us every day. It affects our diet. We do a lot of carb counting. That's pretty much what we do. Carbs are in everything, believe it or not. They're in broccoli, they're in green beans,
Wow.
they're in bananas, tons of them in bananas. Of course, they're in your sugary fruits. They're in everything. So the only free foods he gets are meats and cheeses. He doesn't like cheese. And so for Halloween, he got Slim Jims. You know, he gets toys. It affects our sleep. We check his blood sugars at 9, at 12, at 2, and at 5 a.m.
And that's a.m.
Yes.
9 p.m., 12 a.m.
9 p.m., 12 a.m., 2 a.m., and 5 a.m. Because Dylan can drop. He could be 380 when I put him to sleep, and by 12 he could be 160, which is not too much need of a worry. But then by 2 he could be 110. Anything below 120, I have to start giving him sugar. Now by 5 a.m. he could be 80, 70, 60, or 50, and shaking. He could. We've had a 42 where he has lost his bladder, inability to walk, shaking, eyes rolling in the head.
And something that you guys have started, I know there's other families, of course, in this situation, but this is very recent for you guys. And there's service dogs that are available out here. And it's one thing that you and I have talked about in the past, in the service dogs and the need for a service dog or something like that.
I feel Dylan would be very good to have a service dog because of the fact for our nighttime use. Now, yes, we would have the option to send him to school. I want him on the football field because it's when he's out there playing sports he drops with exercise. It's when he's swimming. I mean, if he passes out in a swimming pool, you know, what are you going to do? You know what happens. It's when he's at the baseball field, when we're on our boat, you know, when we're doing our everyday activities. Even when he's at home playing in the basement, he's given me 280-point drops, just running around playing in the basement. So this service dog could detect 150-point drops, 150-point raises, and those raises are, of course, in the sugars. The dog will also be able to alert anytime he's below 100.
That's amazing. How can they detect that?
But the dogs are trained. They're just trained well. The trainers, how they do it is they have, I guess, a sugar that matches a normal diabetic that she cracks in her pocket. And in our case, she's going to train it at night. So she will wake up at 9, 12, 2, and 5, just like I do, and she will crack this thing open that will smell like Dylan's sugars. The dog will begin to alert. And then we're going to give the dog resting time during the day while Dylan's at school for now, unless his diabetes comes to an area where I feel the need to send the dog to school. The dog will alert by pulling I'm sorry, I don't know exactly what it's called, but a little thing off of my side to tell me he's low, and he can actually prop himself up in sitting position to tell me he's high.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's amazing. Kristin can't even do that.
You know what?
Dylan, I know one thing that happens to you with this is you get your finger pricked all the time.
Did you get your finger pricked a lot?
They do finger prick, and I know Mom's brought that just to kind of demonstrate to everybody what you actually go through.
Let's see how tough you are, Dylan.
Can you do it by yourself?
Yeah.
So, you know what? While you do
Yeah.
that, you've also set up a Facebook page. We also have some information. If people want to learn more about Dylan and learn more about what it's like to be a mom of a 5-year-old great little boy, but just he's got diabetes.
Then they can go to Dylan's Facebook page at Dylan's Diabetic Dog and learn more about him and his story.
Yeah, and
Do
help
you have a Facebook page,
Dylan get a
Dylan?
dog.
He has his own Facebook
Here,
page.
I bet you keep it nice and clean, not compared to Mr. Roby's over here.
I don't have a Facebook page.
Well, then yours is really clean.
I can't believe
we've got a
it,
little,
Dylan.
is that like a little alcohol that we're putting on there to
What
get
is
your
that,
finger-
Dylan? It's alcohol. Dylan has 2 favorite fingers. They're both his index fingers. He's
Very
supposed
nice.
to use all of his fingers, but he chooses to use his index
Oh,
fingers.
wow.
Good.
And as you can tell, they're
I see
pretty warm.
Yeah.
If I see a big smile on your face, you're brave. This is.
Do you want to
You
do it
look
yourself?
good.
You don't know how to do it. You
He's
do
gonna
not
show
know
how
how
tough
to
he
do it.
is.
You don't know how to do that.
Look at him. Look at him go. Look at this.
Wow.
It's easy during the day. You should try the 2 a.m. ones though.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. He's tired, yeah.
He just put that in. Wow.
Dylan, you are so
Get the
brave.
blood out.
I'm
Get the
afraid
blood
when
out.
they put the needle in.
I know. I
I
get allergy shots, yeah.
So now
Did you get enough?
We're getting the blood out. Look, Dylan,
Trying.
5-year-old can actually pull the blood out of here and test
Well, maybe. Here we go. Squeeze. you want to do the meter?
And he checks the meter, and that tells him what his
Did you get it?
levels are.
Wipe your finger.
Did it hurt, Dylan? Gosh,
No,
you're so
of course
brave.
He is 206.
206.
Okay.
So he's high. If it was
Yeah.
you, you
Yeah.
would have to take a pill probably.
Yeah.
But I like to see him here.
Well, he's on week in review right now, so he's...
The doctors want him
Everybody.
between 100 and 200, so he's just a
That's
little
good.
over.
Well, Dylan, thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having
you've been
us.
great. And folks, again, go to Dylan's page. It's Dylan's Diabetic Dog on Facebook. You can search for him on Facebook, and we'll certainly put that web address up right under the screen right here. And Tiffany, Dylan, thank you guys for coming
Thank
on.
you. Thank
Dylan,
you.
best of luck to you for the rest of the school year, my friend, and go Ravens.
Go
right?
Ravens.
Yes,
so
go
is
Ravens.
Well, folks,
He
we're
says
gonna-
yes, he loves
We're going
it.
to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we will be talking a little bit of football. Ravens, Redskins, coming up later in the show. You're not going to want to miss this because we're bringing in, yes, Dave Abrams, the producer, is actually going to show up on TV for the first time in months.
That's fair.
Yeah, it was months ago. And Franklin Chaney, we're bringing Franklin Chaney in from the Gridiron Review to talk a little Redskins, Ravens football, a big game coming up on Sunday. Go ahead and stay with us, folks. We'll be back real soon before we interview.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back. On December 4th, at approximately 7:30 p.m., officers from the Eastern District responded to a residence at the 600 block of Leprechaun Lane in Glen Burnie for a report of a robbery of a pizza delivery driver. Joining us now is Public Information Officer Justin Mulcahy, who has further details on the investigation. Justin.
When officers arrived, they spoke with the 46-year-old male victim, who reported that he was making a delivery at the residence when two male suspects approached him. One suspect displayed a knife and demanded money from that victim, who complied and turned over an undisclosed amount of U.S. currency. Now, at that juncture, the second suspect took the pizzas from the victim, and both suspects fled the area in the direction of Four Leaf Clover Drive. The victim, fortunately, was not injured in this incident. Several officers canvassed the area. They were assisted by a canine unit along with our aviation unit. They searched but were unable to locate the suspects. First suspect is described as a black male about 6 feet tall. He was wearing a dark sweatshirt with a hood along with khaki pants. The second suspect, described as a black male about 5 feet 7 inches tall, with a dark scarf that was covering the lower portion of his face. Folks, we're going to move on to our second incident. That one took place on December 3rd, about 11:48 in the morning. That's when members of the Anne Arundel County Police Department's Eastern District responded to the food line in the 100 block of Crane Highway North in Glen Burnie for what was a reported unknown disturbance. And when they arrived, they spoke with an adult female victim who reported that she was sexually assaulted and stabbed at a suspect's residence earlier. That suspect was located on scene and identified. Now, the investigation revealed that the victim and the suspect were known to each other in some capacity through the victim's employment or some sort of business association. This incident also was determined not to be a random act of violence. The incident took place at the suspect's address at 407 Secluded Post Circle, Apartment D in Glen Burnie, where the suspect held the victim against her will. During that incident, he stabbed her and sexually assaulted her. Afterwards, the suspect then forced the victim into her vehicle, where he drove her to the food line. At that time, fortunately, she was able to alert the store staff quietly without the suspect knowing. They contacted the police, who responded and ultimately took him into custody. The victim was taken to a local hospital, where she was treated and released. Detectives from the Criminal Investigation Division were notified and began handling the investigation. They subsequently conducted a search warrant at that suspect's address. He was arrested, currently being held at the Anne Arundel County Detention Center on a no bail status. That suspect is Shane Lee Miller, 37 years old, of 407 Secluded Post Circle, Apartment D in Glen Burnie. He was charged with first-degree rape, first-degree sex offense, robbery, along with first-degree assault, second-degree assault, and false imprisonment. Now, folks, as always, if you have any information on the crimes or suspects we mentioned on the show, don't hesitate to call, email, or text your tip to Metro Crime Stoppers Hotline. That number is available 24 hours a day. The number, 1-866-7-LOCK-UP. You can also text message MCS plus your message to crimes at 274-637 or visit the website at www.metrocrimestoppers.net. As always, remember those phone calls are not recorded and you can remain anonymous, and you may be eligible for a cash reward of up to $2,000. Back to you.
Thanks, Justin.
Well, it's not even Christmas yet, but
It's not?
Santa. No, it's not yet. Are you being good?
No, but
Are you staying off the nut? You're not being good.
Have you heard about these elf on the shelves?
Yes, I don't know what it is,
You
but
have an elf on the shelf in here.
okay. Is this something that you have year round? Because some of my girlfriends that have kids have been trying to explain it to me.
I have it in school.
Okay, what is it?
An elf. Well, apparently what happens is there's a calendar with an elf, and there's an elf at the top of it, and the elf leaves. Every night the elf leaves, goes back to the North Pole, reports all the activities of the kids in the house or the kids in the school to Santa Claus.
Okay.
And then the elf returns, but in a different spot. And this elf hears everything.
So you have to find the elf.
You have to find the elf, and the elf hears everything that you're doing. So if
Okay.
you're not good,
then
that
you're in trouble.
elf tells Santa about it.
You're done. No,
So
because it's
you
funny.
find
I've
it.
had I don't need the elf, but I've had a couple girlfriends that have said they've lost the elf. That they hid it so well they can't find it right now when it's
Maybe
Christmas
it's just
time.
maybe there's a big snowstorm at the North Pole. And
Maybe.
it hasn't returned.
Yeah. So, well, it's not even Christmas yet, but Santa has paid a visit to Recreation and Parks. Wait, that's not Santa.
No, it's not Santa.
Sprinkling Chaney with Carolyn and Ryan to tell us all about the nice holiday gift ideas. The gift
Santa's
of.
got more hair than that.
Oh, come on, Erik. Do you want to interrupt me one more time?
Oh, just
Let's try it. Ready? To tell us about nice holiday.
Santa's got a beard too.
Yep, that was a good one. Nice one. Okay, so they're here to tell us about nice holiday gift ideas and the gift of fun.
Fun.
Carolyn.
Well, the holiday season is upon us, and here at Recreation and Parks, we've got some gift-giving ideas for you. I'm here with Franklin Chaney, who is our Chief of Recreation Services. Thanks for being on the show, Franklin.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now tell us a little bit about what can people gift here at Recreation and Parks.
Well, it's an exciting time of year, obviously, with the holidays, and we have a lot going on at Recreation and Parks, and we think it's a great Christmas gift to give, for somebody, aerobics program, a gymnastics program for kids, ballet, so many different activities that we have. What a great gift for the holidays.
That is. Now, also our aquatic centers, I understand, do sell gift certificates as well.
Yep, and always a lot of, mentioning programs, our 2 indoor pools, the Annapolis Swim Center in Annapolis, and the North Arundel Aquatic Center. Both, beautiful facilities, great way to no better exercise than swimming. So another, just go on our website, see everything that's going on, and enjoy the holidays.
Yeah, and you can also find park passes there, which are also another great holiday gift idea.
If we have a winter like last winter, great time to visit our parks as well. Quiet Waters and Downs. I mean, our park system is second to none. Beautiful place. Take out the family. Just earlier last week, we had 70-degree weather. Head to Quiet Waters. Little afternoon picnic. Beautiful place to be.
Great. Well, you've also got some exciting things going on. We've got the Elite 8 for the Gridiron Review, and that show's going to be airing next week. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the high school football season just came to an end. Erik Roby, the host of all the TV shows, put together, honoring the elite football players. So I encourage, we have a lot of viewers of our Gridiron Review. Go ahead and check out that program. But exciting time, great taping of the show last week, and it's a great event. Anytime you can honor our great high school athletes that we have in this county, it's a great opportunity. And but I encourage everybody to visit. We didn't give out our website, so we got to give out our website.
Getting ready to do that.
All right, so it's www.aacounty.org/ I always say backslash, but it's /rec parks. Go out and visit, see all our programs that we have. You also can look at the Gridiron Review and different programs that we have. It's an excellent website. We get millions, and that's no exaggeration, millions of hits each year on that website.
Great. Well, that about wraps it up, and you can wrap up your holiday shopping right here at Recreation and Parks. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Carolyn. Maybe Franklin really is Santa because he's already made his way here to the studio locker room to talk with Erik and Dave Abrams about Ravens Redskins week. Hey, do you guys allow girls in the locker room?
Sure, Kristin. Anyone's welcome in the locker room. Come on over. Boys, this is the locker room. This is where, of course, the Gridiron Review is filmed every week. And today,
Hey guys.
Kristin, how are you? That's a nice outfit you got.
Thank
We
you
like
very
the
much.
Ravens purple.
Hey.
There we go. There we go. The locker room set, of course, a set of the Gridiron Review here, where we talk about high school football, college football, professional football every week. Now we're talking the biggest game of the season for the Washington Redskins, of course. That is Ravens-Redskins. Going to come down this weekend, Sunday, FedEx Field, 1 o'clock. Big game, televised on CBS. CBS this time. But what we want to talk about today is Anne Arundel County. We're here in a county that's right between, equidistance between FedEx Field in Prince George's County and M&T Bank, the Purple Palace up there in Baltimore. We are kind of the demilitarization zone. This is neutral ground. Benfield Boulevard, as Dave Abrams likes to refer to it, that line of demarcation between the Anne Arundel County Redskins fans and the Anne Arundel County Ravens fans. And we've got two Redskins fans here with us today. Of course, our own producer of the show and public information officer and RG3 lookalike, Dave Abrams. And,
Thanks for having me. I appreciate
from the Recreation and Parks, the world of sports, Franklin Chaney. The man
Thank you for having me.
everything about Redskins Nation. And to support the Ravens over here on this side, of course, my co-host, Kristin Lagana, the always beautiful, the always popular, the always intelligent
So sweet.
Ravens fan, supporting a Ray Rice jersey. Guys, we got a big game coming up this weekend. And I want to talk a little bit about the fan bases. I know Franklin from South County, Dave grew up in Montgomery County. Dave, how do you see this playing out here in Anne Arundel? Why is there such a divide?
Well, I'm kind of new to it. Actually, I think it's fun, but I grew up I consider the DC suburbs. I spent a lot of time in DC when I was a kid. I left school early, let's say, for the 1991 Super Bowl parade in DC, and
you were in third or second grade?
Yeah, I was quite
I know you were young.
a bit older than that.
It's been a while since you guys had a Super Bowl parade.
But where I'm from, everybody was a Redskins fan. I moved to Anne Arundel County about 6 years ago, and that was Annapolis, where there's still a good healthy supply of Redskins fans.
Where?
Now I live in Pasadena, and there's two of us on my street, two Redskins fans. The other one doubles as a Ravens fan, but because of all my interaction with you, I have to consider the team's rivals right now, and I'm not a Ravens fan. I'm a Redskins fan all the way.
That's okay. Well, Kristin, you grew up in South County, Southern Anne Arundel County.
Davidsonville.
You kind of moved your way up here into the northern part of the area, and you are a Ravens fan.
I'm a Ravens fan.
What attracts you to the purple and black?
Well, it's funny. I think that, if I recall correctly, I remember learning the Redskins fight song in elementary school. I remember news stations coming out and taping us singing it. And Redskins was pretty much something that all the kids in my school, that was it. Just Redskins.
What if Redskins goes like, "Hail to Dan Snyder, hail Dan Snyder's checkbook"? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, that's how it goes.
That's what I thought.
No, I honestly think it boils down to this. I really just wasn't interested in football until later on in my life. As a child growing up, I just wasn't into football. So for me, it's not coming from a place that was heavy into Redskins. None of that mattered, because what it comes down to is I'm pretty fresh football fan. I'm still learning the game. So
is Erik. Erik's still learning the game.
So I guess becoming someone that's interested in football was new and exciting for me right along the time that the Ravens came out, which was pretty new and exciting for me. And just, gathering the history about the Colts and everything. I've always been a big fan of Baltimore. I live there now.
And you're a big fan of winners, too.
I'm a big fan of winners.
This is a team.
That's why I'm on Weekend Review.
This Ravens team is one that, no other team in the NFL can say they went to the playoffs the last 5 years as many times as the Ravens.
And, the interesting thing is that I've had a lot of folks say, "Oh, you're not a Redskins fan because it's difficult to be a Redskins fan." You don't say that to an Orioles fan. That is not the reason why I chose Ravens over Redskins. I just chose Ravens because it was something new and exciting, like I said, while I was getting in football. So.
Well, Franklin, let's look at this game. You guys are coming in.
Wait a minute, what about you? What did you do for 10 years?
6-6. 6-6. You guys are a 500 ball club And you would think the Redskins just won the Super Bowl.
He's going right to it, Frank. He's going right to it.
What is it about the Redskins? Where has their fan base been for the last 5 or 6 years?
Well, you didn't ask me, but I grew up as a Redskins.
I didn't ask you something.
And my family was just Redskins through and through. And I can remember the day the Colts drafted John Elway. And I'm not sure somehow, some way he ended up not on the Colts. But and I think it had something to do with coming to the Colts. But the Redskins, great tradition with me. I remember leaving college and going to the NFC Championship game when we played Dallas.
Is that 46 or 47?
No, in the 80s, the stadium was shaking. I remember it to the day. I mean, it was an unbelievable scene. It's been
that was RFK Stadium. RFK Stadium shook when the wind's over 5.
No, that was when you were wearing your Cowboys jersey, Eric.
Yes.
That was when you had your Cowboys hat and Cowboys jersey.
But I can remember just, on Sunday in my house watching the Redskins was the thing to do. Now, there's no doubt the Ravens, super owner. You guys have a fantastic owner.
Right.
Organization. Isaac Newsom does a fantastic job. And there's nothing wrong with driving a Chevrolet, as the Ravens kind of are. The Redskins are the class of the NFL. Everybody wants to be us.
What class are they in? Everyone wants to be
It's driving a Jaguar or a Cadillac. I mean, our franchise.
6 and you're.
Our franchise is worth $1.6 billion, number 3 franchise in the world, and we are what everybody wants to be.
So I think what you're saying is money builds championships. Money, we can buy our way. We're the New York Yankees of the NFL. I'm Dan Snyder, and I can buy all the championships I want. I can bring in guys like Bruce Smith and Albert Haynesworth and Brandon Lloyd and all these big name free agents.
We've had a difficult
decade.
We've had a difficult 2 decades.
Yeah.
I can't deny that.
So how are you a Jaguar? Does a Jaguar have a difficult decade?
No, we've been better than the Jaguars for a long time. So just to get that clear.
But this RG3 thing.
This is it. Here, it took him 5 minutes to get to it.
That's the first
but
RG3 reference.
That is their team.
Their unicorn.
RG3. That's
the Redskins unicorn.
They put him on like an altar and they bow to him. He's RG3.
And there's nothing. He's a great player. He performs well, and I clearly understand why you're doing it. But I think this whole Jaguar thing, that's a little difficult to say prior to RG3.
I told him not to do that.
We got JF1. You got RG3. Why can't we just say his name? His name is Robert Griffith, not RG. Robert Griffith.
He's on several commercials.
You can call him Robbie. You can call him Bobby. You can call him Bob. But he just wins. That's all he does.
And you might have a problem catching him this week.
He did. He won 6 games this year, and he's lost 6 games this year. Why are we calling him the savior of the Redskins?
Well, why? Can I ask a question? Why are the Redskins favored for the game? If we're 6-6, you guys, a team that's really built for the regular season, the Ravens, not much success in the playoffs.
They're the kings of the regular season, actually.
They're the Washington Capitals of football.
Exactly.
But why are the Redskins favored for the game?
This is going to be a tight game Sunday. We're looking at a tight game. You go to FedEx Field, you see that field is tore up. I mean, I can't even believe we're talking about a Jaguar. You go to FedEx Field, and that field looks like a pee-wee football field. It's so bad. It's so horrible. So when the Redskins go out there and they suit up and they run through their little helmet on the field and they see the black and purple, how quick they are defensively, how quick our linebackers are. This is a different team that Robert Griffith is facing.
Then why are we favored?
And all these other.
I want to comment on the favorite thing because I feel like I can offer an interesting perspective since I'm not as privy to the statistics and all the knowledge that you guys are.
I'll
readily admit that.
Googled some stuff on the way here.
No, you guys know what you're talking about a lot more than I do. But I feel like
and love and
you're going to favor whatever the media is tossing at you right now. And we've got the Ravens who have suffered some really horrible injuries lately and have not been shown in the best light against this guy that's fumbling touchdowns.
He fumbled his way to 500.
Right.
That's what it was.
So, performing magic out there on the field. So, yeah, of course, which way you're going to favor right now when you're looking at what's kind of going on in the way the media are covering the teams. So,
let's go to predictions. Let's see what everybody has.
Predictions. We'll start with the losers. We'll give, because they're 6-6. They're in the middle of the NFC pack, but the leader of the NFC pack is 7-6, so not a great division. 7-6, 6-6. Are they going to be 7-6 after?
I'm gonna have to go to the scratch paper on this one.
Oh my goodness.
I got the scratch paper.
I don't know about. Was I supposed to read
Well,
scratch
you gotta have some numbers to
IQ
back
of
up
a
what you're gonna
Redskins fan.
say.
Some statistics. IQ of a Redskins fan, 30 points lower than that of a Ravens fan.
Are you ready for this? This is all facts. All right.
This is all facts.
You ready for this?
Watch out.
The Ravens are 3-1 against the Redskins. That's 4 times they played. That shows you how long the Ravens have been around. But anyway, the Ravens are a very bad road team. I think we can agree with that.
We can agree with that.
The Redskins,
especially on a field like FedEx.
The Redskins are a very bad home team.
That's correct.
Correct. But what happened last weekend? The Redskins were at home and they won.
And the Ravens were
at home
and they lost.
At home and they lost. Right? I don't know what that means, but talk amongst yourselves for that.
But the scratch paper's going to tell me.
Oh, wait.
I told you, 30 points lower than a Ravens fan. IQ level.
Erik, you said it's going to be a tight game, and we know that we have 2 of the best running backs in the league. We have Alfred Morris, who's 4th in the NFL.
Where did he come from? Central Florida International State Technical Institute? Is that where it was?
I think he was drafted around the same time as Terrell Davis, so I'm okay with that. Ray Rice, 5th in the league in touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the touchdowns than the yards personally, but I'll give him that. Robert Griffin leads the NFL in yards per carry. I don't know if you knew that. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is the Redskins have a tough rush defense.
So who are you gonna pick?
I'm taking
make your prediction.
Redskins over Ravens. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think the Redskins are going to stop the Ravens' rushing attack if the Ravens don't stop it on their own. And I'm picking, it's kind of a shootout. I'm going to go with 28 Redskins, 21 Ravens.
All right, Mr. Chaney.
All right, well, one thing about the Ravens.
Hey, can you not pull out scrap paper?
No, I don't have any scrap paper. But one thing Dave left out, which is an important stat for you guys, is the Ravens have been very successful coming off of losses the last 5 years. Actually, I don't even know if they've lost 2 games in a row over the last 5 years. So Redskins are potentially in trouble. The Ravens are on the downslide. They're very old on defense. The Redskins, we know, are on the upside.
They're a little younger than you, but they're a little old on defense.
We know the Redskins are on the upslide, and things are looking real good. This is not our year. We're playing for not next year, but the following year after that. The NFL stuck it to us with this $30 million salary hit, cap hit, that's really, put a damper on us. But the Redskins are going to win this game and go against some of those stats. I see a 35-14 blowout victory for the Redskins.
A blowout victory, huh? Right. So you think it's going to be okay, Kristin?
I'm going to say the Ravens are going to win.
There you go. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to say it's going to be a close score. I'm going to say it's going to probably be something around like 35-31, something like that.
It's a big score. Well, as we saw on Monday Night Football, Robert Griffith III, as they call RG3, their savior of Washington, D.C. sports. I'm getting to it. Washington, D.C. sports could only put up 17 points on Monday Night Football. Well, folks, that's because, he's very young and his mama needed him to be home by 10:30, so they had to pull him out of the game. This is a good thing it's a 1 o'clock game, so he'll be well rested.
He's 22 years old.
He'll be well rested the night before, and he'll be ready to go out there and play some football. But folks, the Redskins choke in the fourth quarter. They have choked all season in the fourth quarter. They have given up leads when they've been up by 3 touchdowns to teams. They didn't choke on Monday Night Football. The Giants are tired. They've had a tough year up there in New York and New Jersey because of Hurricane Sandy. Hurricane Ray Rice and Hurricane Joe Flacco will be taking to a dirt field on Sunday and defeating the Washington Redskins by a score of 24-20. Folks, you can take that one to the bank.
Wow.
How about a little wager on that?
Gentlemen, good luck to you. And when we win, you can be happy to sing the Ravens fight song for us.
Well, good luck to you guys.
We can review.
And you can wear this
next week. We can do a little arm wrestle right here.
They can take us out somewhere.
They can take us out for some pizza.
Yeah, for some pizza.
Get some Redskins pizza. Well, folks, thanks for staying with us here on Week in Review.
Good
luck to all you Ravens fans and all you Redskins fans out there. Whether you root for the Ravens or root for the Redskins, watch some good football this weekend. Good lineup of games on Sunday.
And you know, it's awesome though we have two such wonderful teams.
Wonderful teams. We're very fortunate to have
We
them.
are.
There are many
This is
places.
Maybe we can be friends after we beat them.
We'll never be friends. Well, folks, that wraps up this week's edition of Week in Review. You can watch this episode online anytime at www.eacounty.org. Archive episodes are available at blip.tv and on YouTube. You can also subscribe to the free, a word not in Dan Snyder's vocabulary, video podcast at iTunes, or like us on Facebook at Arundel TV. Please tune in again next week to celebrate Ravens' victory. And for more news and highlights from around
your county,
we'll see you next time.